for Hal because things start getting really stressful. At 10-0, with just a couple rounds to go, you start, thinking about, top eight's close to a lock. 2 losses in a row, it starts to get nervous. 3, and suddenly your back's against the wall, just like that.
Yeah, it certainly that can get to a point where things really feel like they're getting out of control. Both players trade temples to start the game. On Hal's side, he has a turn 2 Elvish Mystic, and actually his hand is an interesting one here. It is Whisperwood Elemental, more land, Fleecemane Lion, and 2 Reclamation Sages. So really not what you'd expect out of a green-white Devotion deck, but might still be playable.
Yeah, this is definitely not the explosive hands we've come to see from Hal this weekend.
Now, Fleecemane Lion is going to be his next play here as he'll pass the turn. Seeker of the Way was for Brock. Hal is threatening as we know, a Whisperwood Elemental on his next turn. So we go back over to Brock Mosley. That's Evolving Wilds. And he'll have to pass no other land. He did have Rabble Masters in hand, but that's really going to set him back a turn.
Yep. I mean, this is the type of spot where if Hal has Whisperwood Elemental, he really needs Valorous Stance. If he has it, it's great. It's a very powerful way to break serve, and it undoes the damage here of the Evolving Wilds.
Yeah, one of the advantages to the red-white aggro deck as opposed to what you see in Just Sky is they have a lot of ways to answer something like Whisperwood Elemental. He does have his copies of Valorous Stance. We'll have 3 after sideboard. In addition to his 4 copies of Change to the Rocks, Hal should expect that this creature will get removed. He will still get a 2/2 out of the deal, so not all is lost.
And how they're not willing to tap out for the Whisperwood Elemental in his hand because of a variety of factors. One is very likely Brock has Valorous Stance, and he doesn't want to just trade it like that. And he has a very good hedge here in Fleecemane Lion, which is a little awkward for Brock to play around here, particularly with Brock missing a land drop.
Brock does fetch with Evolving Wilds on the end step and then misses a land drop. So if does Hal go for it and then just continue to trade here? Or just do we just have a staring contest?
Depends what his hands looks like, what else he has to do with his mana. When both players are jammed up like this, it really favors the green-white Devotion deck because if both players are just kind of making their land drops, eventually Hal gets to just put some awesome stuff into play. Brock doesn't get to do the same thing.
Hal does make that end step play there, of attempting to use the Monstrosity ability. Brock at the ready with Stoke the Flames, which does mean Brock's tapped out, and Hal gets to make Whisperwood Elemental and Manifest. We pass back over to Brock Mosley. This way, Hal gets his value out of the Whisperwood before Brock has a chance to kill it.
Very nice consolation prize.
You do see Brock immediately moves a Chain to the Rocks to the front of his hand. He does have the answer for Whisperwood.
But post-board, when he's playing against Reclamation Sages, he might feel he's better served just getting it off the table with Valorous Stance and not having to play this sort of game.
And that is something. This is Hal's hand, if you remember, is just a pair of Reclamation Sages. It looked very weak here, but because of how Hal has played this, these cards have suddenly been turned on with this Chain to the Rocks that Brock had to use. And Brock missing again on his land.
Although this is not the end of the world here for Brock, assuming that he has a Valorous Stance to take care of the Whisperwood on the way back, and that Manifest token isn't anything of substance.
Yeah, so here's Reclamation Sage out of Hal Brady. It will hit the Chain to the Rocks. Whisperwood Elemental is going to come back. Hal will go to end step. Can Brock Valorous Stance it? He can. There will be no more Manifests.
So this is not bad for Brock, especially if he starts making his land drops. Hal's hand does not have a lot of action left over, and a lot of this is going to hedge on or revolve around what is that Manifest token. If it's just a land, if it's just a 2/2, doesn't really matter all that much. But if it's something valuable, that could be a big swing.
And well, here's going to be the threat from Brock. It's going to be Goblin Rabble Master, and does hit his land as well. So Rabble Master will be cast. Goblin will be put into play. Goblin will be able to swing right into Reclamation Sage. You see Brock's hand very aggressive. He has 2 copies of Flamewake Phoenix as well as a Goblin Rabble Master. Those have come out of the sideboard in this matchup.
Yeah, trying to go to the skies against Green Devotion, which, is not a bad strategy. We've seen a lot of people do it. Having your sideboard slots taken up by Flamewake Phoenix is something we don't really see very often. It feels like a main deck card or a card you're not playing, but Brock really just wants some cheap flyers.
And the Goblin swings in, Hal down to 15. Pelucranos in Hal's hand. We'll see. He's going to go ahead and make that. Does have access to Nick, though, so he has 4 mana up right now. 1 short of being able to take care of that Rabble Master.
But still gumming up the works a little bit, and right now Brock's all on the ground, so this is still pretty good.
You go ahead and activate Nykthos. That's for 4. I think he was hoping, well, maybe we might actually see, perhaps the Manifest is a creature.
Well, I don't know if Hal perhaps miscounted his devotion, and it looks like that was probably the case because Polukranos on a token here is fairly anemic.
Yeah, and he does end up just eating the token with it. And another Sark on the draw for Brock, so still on 4 lands.
Though, you know, it's not too shabby for Brock, even though he's missing his land drop here, because now the Polukranos has been used, and that opens up the door for Flamewake Phoenix to take to the skies here. Eventually, Brock will draw land number 5, or hopefully.
Yeah. So Goblin token, Flamewake attack.
This is a pretty good setup now. He's got a flyer, you know, he's got something going on in the air. Hal has no answer right now.
Hal's draw another land. Yeah, Hal just has lands and Reclamation Sage. This isn't going to do too much unless that Manifest is a creature, which we suspect it not to be based on how long it's been around.
Right, the signs point to it not being something good. We could be wrong, but based on the way that Hal's played the last couple turns, I suspect it's not a creature.
Yeah, and he'll play the land, swing for 6. Brock's down to 12, and we pass back over to Brock. Turn. Can he hit the land? Multiple 5-mana Planeswalkers in his hand. Still has Flamewake Phoenix to cast in the meantime.
But this is, you know, still okay for Brock. He still gets to play another Phoenix here. He's trucking along. He's got chump blockers for Polukranos. Hal can't make substantial attacks on the ground besides his Polukranos.
Now, of note, if we're wondering, though, about that Manifest, is that it didn't attack last turn, which makes me wonder if it maybe is a creature.
Well, I think the reason that the Manifest token is back on defense is
to block the goblins?
Right, because Brock has the option of just trading with Seeker of the Way, which isn't really doing anything. And
sure,
Hal needs to save damage here. He needs to give himself time to draw something meaningful.
Well, a second Flamewake Phoenix from Brock Mosley puts Hal down to 9. The race is very close here. Hal draws an Elvish Mystic and will swing with Polukranos, but Brock wants to get ahead in the race. He goes ahead and chumps with Seeker of the Way. Hal plays a second Elvish Mystic, and we're back over to Brock Mosley. And the race seems to be going in the direction of the red player. Draw was Outpost Siege from Brock. On the surface, it doesn't look good, except for the fact that that dragon's ability is pretty good right now.
I don't mind an Outpost Siege. I'm sure Brock would prefer another land. But Outpost, with Hal at 9, dealing 1 extra point of damage here is very valuable because it means the Phoenixes represent a 2-turn clock instead of a 3-turn clock.
We'll see if that's the line that Brock picks. He's going to go just for another Rabble Master.
And I think that the reason to play the Rabble Master now is he still has the option next turn of playing
to play the Siege,
the Outpost Siege, and having a lot more to attack with.
This does mean his first Rabble Master has to attack, but it gets to be pumped. It will be a 4-2. It'll trade with Reclamation Sage. The 2 Phoenixes get in there. Manifest blocks one of the Goblin tokens. And yeah, Elvish Mystic will block the other token. So a lot of trades. Hal takes 4. He goes down to 5. He's left with just a Mystic, a Manifest, and a Polukranos. He's going to be dead next turn if he can't do anything about it. Courser of Crufix is his draw. He gets to gain some life. He'll play that one. Top card library is Mastery of the Unseen. That's a real good one if he can get his way to it.
I still don't know if Hal is going to be able to work through the Outpost Siege. I guess he can chump block the Rabble Master with the Elvish Mystic.
Yeah.
And maybe go to 1 here.
Polukranos goes ahead and swings here. Brock, no block. Well, no, he will block it. He'll block it with the Goblin Rabble Master. Now that Hal's at 6, the line just seems... It doesn't seem to have the lethal next turn, so we go back over to Brock. He has Hal at 6. Both his creatures have to attack, so he has no blockers on this turn.
Although this is still a fine turn here. He gets access to Chain of the Rocks, and he also has an Obzon advantage to take care of the Courser.
Yeah, Chain of the Rocks hits Polukranos. Obzon advantage, yeah, could take care of Courser and bolster one of the Phoenixes.
Yeah. And at that point, even if Brock gets a lot of action, or Hal rather gets some action with his Mastery of the Unseen, it just doesn't seem like there's going to be enough creatures, enough breathing space for him to survive these hits.
But yeah, Obzon advantage takes care of Courser, bolsters a Phoenix up to a 3-3. Here's a swing. Hal is down to 1. He's on his last turn. But the big thing, yeah, there aren't very many large creatures in play for Hal. Draws Mastery of the Unseen. Does have Reclamation Sage. He can get back his Polukranos, but can he do anything with it? Can he stop the damage from these birds?
Yeah, he has to leave himself enough mana to be able to manifest something and be able to unmorph it if it's something small. And I think that might mean that Reclamation Sage is off the table. He just doesn't have enough mana to do everything. I guess Reclamation Sage is technically free because he has a Nykthos and he gets back a Polukranos. So he spends 3 mana, but he gets 3 mana back in rebate through the Nykthos.
Yeah, Master of the Unseen is the play for Hal Brady. But what can he get to? Seems like it's just too little too late here.
Yeah.
At 1, there's 5 damage in the air, and as we know, that Outpost Siege in Brock's hand is almost certainly lethal if it's set to dragons. And Hal knows he can't do it, and there we have it. So the win goes to Brock Mosley. He moves to 11-2 for Hal. Brady, a great start, has taken a wrong turn. He's at 10-3, but still has a shot. If he can win it out, we may still see him in our top 8.
Yeah, you see Hal's a little frustrated. It felt like yesterday when we had him on camera, there was a lot of turn 3 Whisperwood Elementals and a lot of times where he was able to weather the storm removal by just having one last big creature. In the last couple of rounds, not so much the case. Now X and 3 and back against the wall from a 10-0 start. Still can make the top 8, but he's got to win both of these rounds.
Yeah, and that a risky hand from Hal. It had double Reclamation Sage in it. It's a good card in the matchup and one that he wants to have, but the hand had one big payoff that was Pelucranos, and you felt like it just didn't pay off hard enough.
The 2 Reclamation Sages were